Have you ever wondered how the strongest man who ever lived could be brought down by a single secret? This is the story of Samson, a man blessed by God with superhuman strength, whose life was a whirlwind of epic battles, passionate love, and devastating betrayal. It's a tale as old as time, a lesson in power, temptation, and the tragic consequences of a broken vow. Our story begins before Samson was even born. An angel appeared to his mother, a barren woman, and told her she would bear a son. This son was to be a Nazirite from birth, consecrated to God. This meant he could never drink wine, never touch a dead body, and most importantly, never cut his hair. His long, flowing locks were the source of his incredible strength, a visible sign of his covenant with God. From a young age, Samson's power was undeniable. The Spirit of the Lord was upon him. The Bible tells us in the book of Judges how he tore a young lion apart with his bare hands, as if it were a young goat. Imagine that raw, untamed power. He once killed 1,000 Philistines, his sworn enemies, using nothing but the jawbone of a donkey. He was a one-man army, a hero to the Israelites, and a terrifying force to his foes. The Philistines, who ruled over Israel at the time, were desperate to find a way to defeat him. They tried to capture him, but he would simply snap the ropes they used to bind him as if they were threads. But Samson had a weakness, and it wasn't a physical one. His weakness was for beautiful but untrustworthy women. This flaw would ultimately lead to his downfall. After a series of troubled relationships, he fell deeply in love with a woman from the valley of Sorek. Her name was Delilah. When the Philistine lords heard of Samson's love for Delilah, they saw their chance. They went to her in secret and made her an offer she couldn't refuse. Each of the 5 rulers promised to give her 1,100 shekels of silver if she could discover the secret of Samson's great strength and how they could overpower him. It was a fortune, a staggering amount of money that could change her life forever. Tempted by the silver, Delilah agreed. She began her mission, using the one weapon against which Samson had no defense, his love for her. She would ask him, with a sweet and innocent voice, "Please tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued." The first time she asked, Samson played along, perhaps not realizing the true danger. He told her, "If they tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man." So, while he slept, Delilah had the Philistines hide in the room, and she tied him with the bowstrings. Then she cried out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He woke up and snapped the bowstrings as if they were a piece of string touched by fire. The secret remained safe. Delilah was not pleased. She pouted and accused him of mocking her. "You've made a fool of me," she said. "You lied to me. Now tell me how you can be tied." Again, Samson gave her a false answer. "If they tie me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man." So Delilah took new ropes and tied him up. Once again, the Philistines hid nearby. She shouted, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." And just as before, he snapped the ropes off his arms like thread. Now Delilah was getting frustrated, but also more determined. She complained, "Until now, you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me how you can be tied." This time, Samson's answer was more elaborate. He told her, "If you weave the 7 braids of my hair into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I'll become as weak as any other man." It seemed he was getting closer to the truth, a dangerous game. So, while he slept, Delilah did exactly as he said, weaving his hair into the loom. She called out again, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He woke up and pulled up the loom, with the pin and the fabric still attached to his hair. 3 times she had tried, and 3 times he had deceived her. Delilah was at her wit's end. She decided to change her tactics. She stopped asking directly and instead attacked his heart. The Bible says she pressed him daily with her words and urged him, so that his soul was vexed to death. She questioned his love for her. "How can you say, 'I love you,' when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength." Day after day, she wore him down with her nagging, her tears, and her accusations. She turned his love for her into a weapon, making him feel guilty and unloving for keeping his secret. Samson, the man who could defeat armies, was defenseless against this emotional onslaught. His love for Delilah was his Achilles heel. Finally, exhausted and heartbroken by her constant pressure, he gave in. The Bible says he told her all his heart. He revealed the sacred vow he had made to God. No razor has ever come upon my head, for I have been a Nazirite to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become weak, like any other man. He had given her everything. His greatest secret, the source of his divine power, was now in the hands of the woman he loved, the woman who was plotting his destruction. Delilah knew this was the truth. She sent a message to the Philistine rulers. "Come up at once, for he has told me all his heart." They came, bringing the silver with them. That evening, she lulled Samson to sleep with his head in her lap. Then she called for a man to come and shave off the 7 braids of his hair. As the razor cut through the last lock, Samson's strength began to leave him. Delilah then shook him awake, shouting for the last time, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He woke up, thinking he could escape as he had before. He said to himself, "I will go out as at other times and shake myself free." But the Bible tells us the most tragic line in the whole story. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. This time, there was no escape. The Philistines seized him. Samson's power was gone. In a cruel act of revenge, they gouged out his eyes, leaving the mighty warrior blind and helpless. They bound him with bronze shackles and took him to Gaza. There, the man who had been the judge of Israel, their champion, was forced to grind grain in a prison, a job usually done by animals or the lowest of servants. It was the ultimate humiliation. Samson, the hero, was now a broken slave, blind and powerless, an object of ridicule for his enemies. The Philistines were ecstatic. They held a great festival to celebrate their victory, offering a massive sacrifice to their god, Dagon. They proclaimed, "Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste our land and multiplied our slain." They brought Samson out of the prison to entertain them. Thousands of Philistines, including all their rulers, were packed into the temple, with about 3,000 on the roof, all watching and mocking the blind, broken champion. But they made one fatal mistake. They forgot about his hair. In the months he spent in prison, his hair had begun to grow back. And as his hair grew, so did his connection to God. Standing between the 2 central pillars that supported the temple, Samson prayed to God one last time. It was not a prayer for escape, but for revenge. "Sovereign Lord," he cried out, "remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." He placed his hands on the 2 pillars, his right hand on one and his left on the other. He said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then, with a final, desperate surge of divinely restored strength, he pushed with all his might. The pillars gave way. The massive temple roof came crashing down on the rulers and all the people inside. In that one final act of sacrifice and vengeance, Samson killed more people than he had in his entire life. He died, but he died a hero once more, fulfilling his destiny to deliver Israel from its oppressors. The story of Samson and Delilah is more than just a biblical legend. It's a timeless and tragic human drama. It's a story about the intoxicating nature of power and the corrupting influence of betrayal. It shows us how even the strongest among us have vulnerabilities, and how love, when twisted and manipulated, can become the most destructive weapon of all. Samson's strength wasn't just in his hair, it was in his faith and his vow to God. When he broke that vow, he lost everything. But in his final moments, through a final prayer, he found redemption. It's a powerful reminder that our greatest strengths and our deepest weaknesses often lie side by side, within our own hearts. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as moving as we did, please like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales from history and mythology. Let us know in the comments what you think is the most important lesson from Samson's life. See you next time.